Hello and welcome back to Small Talk. We've got a great episode ahead as we chat with a pair from Oswego. I'm your host, Katie Mucci. Each week on this show, we highlight the past and present of Division III, with both current and former student athletes joining to talk about their experiences, their favorite on-campus spots, the craziest road trip stories, and more. This week, we're chatting with Simone Benarik, a member of the women's ice hockey team at Oswego, alongside a former member of the program, Kate Randazzo. The two talk about why they chose Oswego, their favorite memories with the team, what they hope for the future of D3 women's ice hockey, and more. Thanks for joining this week. Now it's time for some small talk.
Hi, my name is Simone Benarik. I'm currently on the women's ice hockey team at Oswego, and I'm a senior.
Hey, hi, I'm Kate Randazzo. I'm a former member of the women's ice hockey team at Oswego, and I am currently playing hockey in Sweden, and that's what I've been doing for the past 4 years.
Well, thank you both for being here. I appreciate you joining me from different time zones and countries, and excited to chat with you guys about this. You're our first women's ice hockey episode. We are 42 or 43 episodes in at this point, and the first time we've had women's ice hockey, so super excited to chat. So first, we'll start out with on-campus life. So you guys both spent time at Oswego, and neither of you are from New York, which is when I was looking up your rosters, I found that. So talk about on-campus life. You got there, you found your team, and you have your friends there. But when you all are hanging out with your friends and your teammates, what are some of those spots around campus that are kind of must-haves? And Simone, since you are currently still there, I'll have you start.
So kind of a couple places that we go to are Cheap Seats. It has like a outside kind of volleyball court in the sand, which is really nice in the summer. We don't get to use it a lot, but a couple times we go, it's kind of fun team building. So that's definitely one good place. For more like a sit down, we do like a lot of birthday dinners at Red Sun or like the bistro. So we have a lot of birthday dinners in September. So in September, we're always at Red Sun. Yeah, I think that's for like places in Oswego. Oh, there's a new place called Waco Gringo, and they have a lot of good Mexican food. It's kind of like it used to be like a street corner thing, but now they kind of have a whole building around it, which is really cool. So we go there a lot too.
Kate, any of those sound familiar to your days?
A few. Yeah, I think a lot of it's still the same. Red Sun. I used to go there with my parents every single time they visited. My parents were more regulars there than me. The staff knew them. So pretty similar except for that new place. Otherwise for me, like if I think back to each year was probably a little bit different. Like when I was a freshman or a sophomore, we're living on campus and like I moved there from Canada. I didn't have a car and I was in a huge class. We had 10 incoming freshmen. And so we very much hung out on campus because we couldn't get anywhere else. And we all lived in the same dorm. So there was a lot of hanging out in the dorm, in the dining hall. I think we used to sit in the dining hall probably for the entire time it was open for dinner. That was our like hangout place.
I love it. I think back to my college days and how much time I spent in the dining hall, but also how fun it was. It's such a minor thing, but the dining hall is always the best. You see everyone. It's great. You kind of mentioned it there. Your parents came to town. You went to Red Sun, but Simone, for you, when the family's in town or you're not living on a college kid budget, maybe, what is the best spot to go out with the family?
Definitely Red Sun. It has like they kind of changed their menu around a lot, but it has really good pasta, cheesecake. Like it's just like a all around good place to go. There's a couple other like pasta places. We went to Bona's once, which was nice. It was kind of more like quiet there, and it's not like really like right in the center of town. But I also forgot to mention this when we were talking about places to go. Bev's is a huge place. It's an ice cream place. It's like right on the water. So we go to Bev's a lot. It's like, especially when I was a freshman, sophomore, lived on campus, we would just walk there. Like the sunsets in Oswego are really beautiful. So we would just get ice cream and watch the sunset at Bev's.
That sounds like the perfect night is ice cream on the beach watching a sunset. Now let's think about off campus, so traveling. Obviously in D3, and especially when you're a Northeastern New York school, you guys, I think New York has the most Division III schools of any state in the country, but so you're probably not flying a ton or taking a ton of long trips, but you do travel, and I imagine things have not changed too much in the last 4 years since you graduated, Kate. But I'll start out with you, Kate. When you guys are traveling, what was that like? Were you jumping into vans that your coaches were driving? Did you guys get a nice charter bus? What was the situation? And maybe what were some of those favorite trips you went on?
Yeah, so we took exclusively buses for any trip. And while I played at Oswego, we actually had a conference change. So when I started, we had a bit more travel because we played outside of New York within our conference. And then when the conference changed to just being New York schools, the type of travel we did kind of changed. But I think for me, the furthest trip that we would have been taking would be like 8, 9 hours on the bus. And it could be as close as just going to one of the other New York schools like Potsdam and Canton. They're not really that far, Cortland. But yeah, long bus rides. I think of one my freshman year. So this is when we're playing in this larger outside of New York conference. And we were going to somewhere in Vermont. I don't even remember what school we were going to play, but we got stuck. It was snowing. The bus ride ended up taking over 10 hours, but we still had so much fun. It was one of my first trips. We were singing on the bus. Our coaches had a lot of fun, and we eventually got there. But that changed a bit. Yeah, that changed a bit when the conference changed. We didn't have to travel as much, but you still have those out of conference games. And I think Simone, I think you guys ended up playing probably even further than I did as they started to change the like out of conference schedule.
Simone, for you, she mentioned that you guys maybe have a little bit longer travel. What are some of those trips for you?
I think the only really long trip we do is Adrian, so that's all the way in Michigan. So it's kind of like a 8 or 9 hour bus ride. So again, we only take buses everywhere. But with our rides to Adrian, this year was really fun because most of our team bought dog hammocks. So I don't know if you guys saw that on like TikTok or Instagram or something, but it's like for the car for dogs to be in, like in the backseat of the car, it's like flat on the bottom. So it's like really comfy. And we, like most of our team got it for the bus ride. So we basically all had like our own little hammocks like on the bus. So the bus ride went super easy. We were all like had blankets and pillows in there. Like it was so funny just seeing everybody like in their own little like cubicles, I guess. So that would be like the longest trip was to Adrian, and we did that twice. So we're not doing it next year, but yeah, the other trips are like an hour or two, and maybe Plattsburgh's the only other further one we do. And that one we also brought our dog hammocks because why not? If we're gonna buy them, just use them.
I love that. I do have one of those in my car for my dog, so I completely picture that. I also am realizing I am very bad at geography because I could never have guessed that Michigan was only an 8 or 9 hour drive from New York.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's because it's kind of just on the same highway, but I live in Chicago, so I take the same way. So whenever we played in Michigan, my parents would drive 2 or 3 hours up to go watch,
Awesome.
which is better than them driving really far. And my brother also came one game to watch me play, which was nice.
How many games does your family get to make it out to each year since you're over in New York?
Not that much. It's basically just the Adrian games they can go to, and then either like playoffs or something when they fly down. But my brother also plays hockey. He was playing in Michigan this year with NTDP, and he played some games against college teams like Cornell and other teams. So when my parents would like fly out for a weekend, they could see me play and my brother play, which would be nice, but not very often.
Okay, very cool. Kate, how about you? You're also not from local. Did your family get to make it out to a good number of games?
Yeah. When I was a junior and senior, they came to a lot. I'm Canadian, but I don't live that far from Oswego. I only live about an hour from the border. So if there's no line at the border or traffic or anything, I only live about a 3.5 hour drive from Oswego, which is by no means super close, but in the hockey world, it's pretty close. So
Yeah,
I was really, really lucky my senior year, and my parents came to every single game.
that's awesome.
Um, they were, well, at the time we thought it would be like my last year of hockey. So they were, excited and emotional about that chapter of my life coming to an end and that chapter of their lives coming to an end. They made t-shirts. We ate at Red Sun a lot. Um, and so they were always there. And that's one of like my best memories of school. Also for my teammates too, because we had so many in my class. It was like they were everybody's parents.
That's really sweet. Now I understand why they were regulars at Red Sun and they knew
Oh
them. I was
yeah.
like, man, how much did they come down there?
Oh yeah, they were like real regulars. Like the wait staff knew them by the end of the year.
Did they get to make it out to any of your stuff now that you're playing overseas?
Yeah, they've actually been to visit me 3 times in the past 4 years. Um, one time there was no hockey because they came in the spring, but they've got to come and watch me play at home. And this past season, um, they actually came and got to come on our team's bus to go up to northern Sweden, which was really cool.
Okay, so that was kind of your travel situation. So let's just talk about Oswego a little bit and academics. And neither of you are from the area, so obviously, I'm sure women's hockey or women's ice hockey was a big reason you ended up there. But obviously, the school stuck out to you in some way, shape, or form. Because I'm sure you had other options. So, starting with you, Kate, what was really the deciding factor to get you to go play at Oswego?
Well, don't really think that there was one deciding factor. It was more like a combination of all of the things that I was looking for. I mean, I had visited plenty of schools that checked some of the boxes or most of the boxes. When I visited Oswego, that was one of my first visits where I thought, okay, well, now we've actually checked all of the boxes. So this is like a real option for me. So I was a biology major, and um, not especially at the Division III level, like you can have a lot of small schools, and not every school has a biology program or natural sciences programs or like the resources to like do as much as you can during your undergrad. Like there, other schools might have had a biology program, but no research. So this is the first time that I visited a school where I was like, okay, I like the hockey. Um, the arena is awesome. I like the coach. I like the team, and it has the academics that I'm looking for. And I think that I could actually play here. So that was kind of what it was for me. It wasn't like uh, one standout factor. It was more like everything, like the whole combination of what it had to offer.
Simone, how about for you?
Kind of the same thing. Like school was obviously a really big part of it because I mean, you won't have to get a good degree out of it, but I knew that I want to do something in business. And for D3, there was, I mean, most schools have some sort of degree in business, but Oswego had probably like the best business program from all the schools that I was looking at. So that was one of the bigger reasons that I chose Oswego, was because of that program, but also because the other opportunities to like take more classes and do like a double major and a minor in like different fields. So that's another reason that there's like, right now I'm in 2 majors and 1 minor, and I'm interested in everything I'm in. So I'm really happy about that. And then, I mean, the hockey was a big part of it, but the rink was really nice too. Like, it was great on every phone call we had and all of that. So hockey was probably the biggest part of it, but the school was like a great add-on, like having like one of the best business schools in New York, like going to it. It's great.
Did you know going into college that you wanted to leave Illinois?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of schools in Illinois, but nothing that like really nowhere I'd really want to go. I was thinking somewhere in Minnesota, but still like there's a lot of liberal arts schools out there, and I wasn't really looking for a school like that. I kind of wanted to do a state school and really focus on my degree more than just go to school for hockey and then try to like find something to do there in the academic part of it. So I knew I wanted to like go a little bit further, but I didn't think I'd be all the way in New York.
Makes sense. So, Simone, since you're still in the thick of it, I'll ask you, do you have a favorite class or professor that you've had during your time there?
I do. Professor Babiaz is definitely my favorite professor. I've taken 2 classes with him. I've taken cultural and environmental business and then international business this year. And my class this year was actually in Syracuse. So me and my other teammate, Sophia, we would drive to Syracuse for once a week for this class, for this 3-hour class. And I would do it again. Like everybody was like, why would you take a class in Syracuse? Like there's no point of it. But like we took it because of the professor. He's just great. He really like he gets you talking in class and you learn a lot. So definitely Professor Bob, yes, has been my favorite.
Awesome. Kate, when you look back, any classes or professors that stood out to you?
Well, now it has been so long. But I mean, I had a lot of professors that I really liked, a lot of classes that I really liked. It's almost like as Simone was talking, I'm trying to sit here and think of like what were all their names. And I honestly can't even remember everybody that I thought like that really made an impression on me. But what comes to mind is my senior year. In the first semester, I took ecology, and I was not thrilled to be taking ecology. It's required as a biology major, but I was not into it. And my teammate, Aaron Stewart, were in the same class. And we're both biology majors. So we've got to take this ecology class. Like, it's going to be so boring. It has this lab. You have to drive up to the field house across from the campus and go in the woods. Like, not into it. And it wound up being so much fun. Our professor, Dr. Hellquist, he was just so passionate about ecology that it actually became interesting. And he also ended up being a huge supporter of our team. He used to bring his daughter to our games. He was so, so nice. And I think that's something that really sticks out to me with a lot of the classes at Oswego, with the class size being a little bit smaller. It was like one of those moments where it's like so great that I ended up enjoying a class that I didn't think I would, because it's very easy to enjoy classes and professors that you're like super interested to be in the room, but to have a professor kind of turn around a whole subject was really great.
Definitely. Now we're going to get to some story time. So the first thing I want both of you to share is your funniest or craziest but appropriate story. So we'll go the other direction. Kate, I'll have you start, and then Simone, you can follow up.
Okay, so I read the outline, and I was like trying to think of something funny, because it's almost like I know I had so much fun, but sometimes I have trouble like picking out those like small funny moments. It's like I would almost need to talk to somebody from my class to really remember everything. But the first thing that came to mind for me was this. We came back to school, I think this was my freshman or sophomore year at the winter term. So we come back to school as winter athletes like 3 weeks before school actually starts, to do a week of practice. And then I think there's like 2 weeks of games and school starts. So we had to come back. It was January 1st, January 2nd. And I drove down from here in Hamilton, where I live. And I drove down with 2 of my teammates because they had flown into one of the airports around here. So they're Canadian too. So we could all drive down together. We drive down, we get into the rink. We practiced that day. So we had lunch, and then we practiced, we had a meeting. And when we came out back to the rink parking lot, there was like 4 feet of snow over the whole parking lot. And nobody was dressed appropriately. We're all like in our drive back to school clothes, and we didn't have any shovels. And we were just stuck there at the rink. And it took over an hour to get everybody's cars out, and we used hockey sticks. And eventually, I don't even think we got everybody's cars out, but eventually we all got home. And that whole winter term just became like the funniest thing with all of the snow, because we had so many players on our team from like states that don't really get snow. And it was like learning to drive in the snow, and like they didn't have appropriate clothes. And it was just like a hilarious winter term.
I'm trying to figure out the logistics of getting a car out with a hockey stick, and that doesn't
Well,
seem super
there's
efficient.
there's a lot of sweeping involved.
Yeah.
Digging with your hands. Running the snow over if you have a big car.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like pushing it out of the way with the hockey sticks. It was like, I can't even explain how funny it was at the time because it was really comical because we were just like all exhausted.
Oh my
And our
gosh.
coach's car was stuck too. And it just like, we had no idea that it was going to snow.
That's wild. Well, I'm glad you made it home. Glad your cars got out. Simone, how about you? What's one of your memories?
I can't like pinpoint like one certain thing because there's just like a bunch of like little things that always happen. But in our locker room, we kind of like do something once and then we end up doing it like every game as like I don't know if it's like a superstition or if it's just for fun. But one time our coach Digby was walking into the locker room right when the song like It's Britney Beep started playing. Like he was like walked in like right at that time. So since then we kind of like this was like pre-game, like about to get on the ice, like coach comes in, gives us the talk and we go. So now like it doesn't happen every time, but like most of the time when we're about to go play and coach is getting ready to walk in, we're like, someone's like, oh yeah, coach is coming, like press play, and it's like, it's Brittany Beep, and he walks in. But we started saying like, it's Dicky. So I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but that's the one thing that came to my mind. It's funny every time it happens, like it never gets old. And he hates it. He doesn't like it at all.
I was about to ask, how does he feel about his walk-up song?
I think he likes it a little bit, just like a little bit, but he doesn't like strut to the music, which is the worst part of it, and he does it on purpose. Like it goes like boom, 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 and he doesn't walk to the music on purpose. He like does his own walk, so he's not like supporting it, I guess. I don't know. But
He
so
secretly
funny.
loves it, but he can't
Yeah.
admit it to you all. He's like, I can't tell everyone I love Britney Spears. This
Yeah.
would be embarrassing.
Yeah.
I love it. So funny, crazy stories. Well, just think about favorite memories during your time. So something that stands out is something you hold near and dear to you. So once again, we'll flip the order. Simone, you can go first.
I guess a lot of us say this when we're asked this question in interviews for my team, but definitely my first year, freshman year, playing Adrian. It was like they're the better team. Like they were doing a lot. Like they were just really good at the time, and we were kind of building up to what we could have, like what we could be. And we played them after like a long 8-hour drive, and we ended up beating them 3-2, I think. And that was like so much fun. Like it was the first time like our whole team kind of got together and like celebrated like a big win like that. Like we didn't have a big win like that before. It's kind of just like minor wins. But then another big win we had this year, which is a really good memory of mine again, is beating Plattsburgh for the first time. For like my group of girls, it was our first time beating Plattsburgh, and that was a great memory. We had to play Plattsburgh again the next day, so we couldn't like celebrate in the way we would celebrate other games, but the way we were celebrating in the locker room after winning, like we were celebrating hard. Like coach was jumping up and down with us. Like we should have probably been a little bit more focused on the next game, but we were just like so in the moment of like beating the team that we've been trying to beat for 3 years that it was a lot of, we were like jumping in circles and like, yeah, it's just those big wins that you like are working so hard for and you don't really like expect to happen. Like those are the best moments. They're like feel good moments.
Yeah. Kate, how about you?
Well, I actually have a very similar story to Simone, because first of all, I have so many great memories, and really a lot of my senior year is just like one big great memory. But the one that will always stand out is my freshman year. We went down or up to Plattsburgh, and we played them on a Saturday, and we lost 8-1, 9-1. Something like that. Like just got absolutely killed. The shots were, I think our goalie took like 60 shots. And I'm a freshman, so I was like, oh God, this is terrible. Like, and they're at the time they were like won the national championship like 3 years in a row, like hadn't lost a game in years. And it was super intimidating. We had to play them the following day. So we got up the next day, went to the game, And after we did the on ice warm up, we came into the locker room, and when it was time for the coaches, right before they like would come in and give us the pregame talk, our assistant coach, Greg Haney, he's actually the head coach of Elmira now. He came in with his laptop and he was like, I have something to show you guys. And he shows us this video. He's zoomed in on the Plattsburgh bench, and it's this one of their players. She's sitting on the like boards, and she was a senior on Plattsburgh at the time, like a really good forward, or like I forget her name, but he was like, you see her, like she's sitting there on the bench, like laughing with her teammate, doesn't take you guys seriously. Like they think they're just going to come in and walk all over you. Like, watch this. She didn't even warm up. Like, that's a big mistake. Now you're going to go out here and show her like this mistake. You're going to show them what they're missing. And it was like something out of a movie. Like, it just got everyone so fired up. And we went out there and won. And it was like, it was a 1-1, 2-2, and then we ended up winning 3-2. And they totally outshot us, but our goalie, Mariah, she was incredible. And people just played with this like grit and intensity that are those things in players that you just can't teach. And it was really that, like, when Coach Haney came in and like just fired everyone up, like really like a moment out of a movie. And it was so exciting. And for me as a freshman, like I didn't really understand how big a deal it was, but it's one of my favorite moments. I'm so proud to be a part of it for the upperclassmen of the time, because when they were freshmen, it was like considered impossible for them to do that. And they just worked so hard for it. And it was like such an incredible experience to be a part of that moment for them, because it's not really like, it wasn't really my moment. It was their moment, and I got to help them be there, and it was just so awesome.
I was Googling while you talked. I think I found the box score. You were outshot 50-16
yeah.
and so on. That's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I played D, and we played the whole game in our end, and I was so tired. Our goalie, she was absolutely incredible. Like, it's one of those games where, you know, if anyone else was in net, if any other performance was given, like, we would have lost.
Yeah.
But it was just this crazy team effort. Like, the energy was insane. And it was just a regular season game. Like, it might have ended up being inconsequential, like, on our actual season. But it was absolutely incredible. And every time I go into that arena, I can look up at that banner, because they won the national championship and it has their record on it. And you can see like 1-27, whatever the record was. And that one was our like movie moment.
I love that. Now we're going to kind of start to wrap it up. I have a couple of Division III questions for you both. The first one is just, what does it mean to you to be or to have been a Division III student athlete? And you both kind of talked about it with your academics and things like that, getting to be involved in some stuff. But what is that experience meant to you? And Kate, I'll have you start as you graduated now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it means a lot to me. And it definitely means a lot to be able to have like played hockey at a competitive level, because obviously I'm still playing hockey. I love hockey. It's like what I always want to do. But as a female athlete, and not as, for me, like not as someone who's would have ever thought that they would continue with hockey after university. I never really saw a place for me in that world. You know, I really wanted to be able to come out of university with a degree that I wanted, but also with the experiences that I wanted, because, you know, today's world is very competitive, and it's not enough just to have your piece of paper degree. You need to have some experience too. So to be able to play hockey and have that amazing community and experience, but also be able to do undergraduate research. I did 2 years of undergraduate research with the biology department, and also to be able to work. I was a tutor in a couple different like science and math classes. And me and some of my teammates got to participate in a lot of other programs that the school have. And I just don't think that we would have had that opportunity necessarily if we played Division I or in Canada. And for some people, you know, that's what they want is like hockey, 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 hockey. But as someone who really thought that I would never play again after I graduated, it was really important to me to be able to have all sorts of opportunities while I was in university.
And Simone, how about you?
I'm really grateful that I get to play D3 because I guess like you get a lot more recognition kind of in the D3 world than you would in D1. Like if I ever went D1, like I wouldn't have like the amount of support and yeah, basically the amount of support that I do. And just being in D3, it's a little bit more of like a smaller community. Like I know a lot of the players from the different teams, like it's just I feel like it's just a better environment, I guess, for players. Like it's still very strict. We still work out like the same amount as D1 players. We're on the ice every day. Like we do all the training and stuff, but we kind of have a little bit more like looseness in it. Like we kind of get to do our own thing in a way. So I guess it's a lot better for me like being still in that structure, but I still get to kind of like if I want to do something else during warm up, that's okay. Like coach is totally okay with that. I can do it like 2 minutes something different in warm up if that would help me. And I feel like in D1 it's kind of like you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. So I'm really happy with my decision playing D3, and also the academics is again a big part of it. Like I wanted to get something out of the school part of it, not just hockey. As much as I love hockey, like again, like you need a degree, you need again experience, as Kate said. So yeah.
Being able to balance a double major and a minor, I think you said earlier too, I'm sure has been challenging. So
But yeah, I have 2 majors and a minor, so I'm definitely getting what I wanted to get out of school, which is great.
good. All right, my last question for both of you. I'm going to kind of ask you to pull out a crystal ball here. So no right or wrong answers, but this podcast is part of our 50th anniversary celebration. So we're 50 years down with Division III, many more to come. When you look to the future, and maybe it's specific to women's ice hockey, maybe it's just Division III in general, what do you see or what do you hope to see? And Kate, I'll have you kick it off.
Okay, I mean, I will speak to women's ice hockey because I really don't know that much about other sports at Division III, but I feel like it would apply anyway. For me, if I were to take out the crystal ball, I kind of think that there's 2 different things that are in the future for Division III, probably also in the current, but one is like the ability of Division III sports to give the opportunity for more athletes to continue to play, and also and this is more where we get into the women's hockey part of it, like the development aspect of it. You know, not every athlete is at their peak or in their prime when they're 18. Not everybody has reached their full potential from 18 to 22. I know for me, like I wasn't really on the radar of being like some of my teammates were when I was going into university. Like a lot of them were a lot better and a lot stronger than me. And that kind of stuff didn't come for me later. And so I'm really grateful that there was the opportunity to have somewhere for me to play and develop further and actually end up continuing to play after university. And, you know, if there wasn't D3 sports, I might not have that opportunity and I might not still be playing today. So I really see a continuance with that, like even more so being a place for athletes to develop further, especially for women, as we see like more and more professional women's sports coming to life. You know, it gives an opportunity for athletes to develop and reach their full potential if they weren't at that, we'll say like elite Division I level, or like however you want to put it, when they were graduating high school. Because, you know, if I sat on the bench on a Division I team, I certainly wouldn't have got as much better as I got playing Division III. Because as much as practice is great, like game experience for me is just a really, really big part. And I'm sure that goes for other sports too.
Definitely. Simone, how about you? What do you see or what do you hope to see for the future?
I think Kate said a lot perfectly, like kind of how you're coming freshly out of high school as an 18-year-old, like you're still not at your peak yet, and D3 is great for developing that. Like I'm at my peak yet. Continue playing after university just as Kate is, and D3 is like kind of like a bridge for me. Like I'm like being here, I'm getting great, like playing against great opponents and all, and I have great equipment to work out, got all the gear and everything. So it's a bridge for me to go to the next step in my life. But something that I'd like D3 develop more on is same opportunities to all athletes, because especially at Oswego, like hockey, like we get everything. The rink, like we have a workout room, all of our gear is paid for, we get sticks, like we are really treated the exact same as a D1 school, but at least for Oswego, it's not the same for every team. So there's lacrosse and soccer, the girls teams, they have to pay for their own like warm-up clothes and stuff like that. Like we pay for things, maybe our shoes, but we really get mostly everything given to us, which is really amazing. So I think that's kind of the only thing that I'd like to develop, is seeing other teams also get kind of the same opportunities as we are, because we really are treated like amazingly at our school. And I just want the other girls teams to kind of have the same experience as we do with that, like not have to worry about giving your own money from as like a broke college student, like paying your own money for your like college workout clothes, you know what I mean? Like we're really, like I'm really grateful that Oswego does that for us, but I wish that they did it for the other teams as well.
Definitely. Well, that was my last question for both of you. Once again, thank you both for being here today. I appreciate you taking time out of your Friday to join me and chat.
Oh, I appreciate being here. It's fun.
To everyone listening, thanks for tuning into this episode of Small Talk. We post new episodes every week. Follow along with everything Division III. You can find us on social media at NCAA D3 or NCAA DIII. Make sure to join the conversation with us all year long by using the hashtag DIII50. Have a great day, and we'll see you for some more Small Talk next week.